All right, everybody, good Monday evening, November the 11th, and this is a tropical update. So, this crazy season continues. We actually have a 60% chance of development in the Western Caribbean by the end of this week. I'm 1010 Bay Chief Meteorologist Bobby Deskins. I'm not overly concerned about this one at all, but it is something that we'll need to watch as some of the models bring it up towards South Florida eventually. But all of the forecasts with this thing are way out in time. We're talking over 7 to 10 days away. So let's not get too upset about it, but we'll talk about it right now. So here you go. You can see where we're looking. This is actually this area that's south of Hispaniola, but I wanted to start up here and show you what's left of Rafael. You know, that kind of what's right. It's been sheared apart like all this rain that's been up here. That one's gone, nothing to worry about. Now let's talk about this one, and you can see definitely some decent convection. It's starting to lose a little bit this evening, but it flared up pretty well. We're expected to actually drift further to the west before development occurs, and that would be later this week. So this is our local forecast model, Futurecast. You can see by Wednesday afternoon, south of Jamaica, or southwest of Jamaica, really, and by Thursday, starting to take shape. This could be a tropical depression by Thursday, if that happens, maybe even sooner, early Thursday. But then the models kind of meandered around here. See, there's Tampa right up here. There's Cuba. This is obviously the Western Caribbean here. And the models tend to just kind of meander this thing around a little bit. What's steering all this in the mid-levels is this big ridge of high pressure. You can see it's what we would call a ridge. This whole hump that you see right here is part of that ridge. And so storms just have a hard time. They can't really get into that. But this is taking us out. You see the date right here through this upcoming Sunday. Again, we may have actually something in the Caribbean at that point, but it would stay down to the south. This high would block it from coming to the north. Now, let's go out until about Tuesday of next week. Here comes the high shifting to the east. This little curve you see here, this is the model sensing that there's a low sitting right here, okay? And now, what you would think would happen with this trough coming in here, you may get this thing kind of get picked up and taken out. And that's generally what they try and do. And our job is to try and figure out what that's going to look like by the time it gets here. Now, here we go into Thursday. And this is the timing that we would have to be watching it. And what this says is the high backs down quickly. This trough comes in pretty quickly. And anything that's here kind of ends up coming across maybe South Florida, up and out. Now, this is Thursday, November 20th, right? That is way beyond the timing of what we look for any kind of accuracy. And I'll show you that coming up. So here's the GFS model. I'm going to run it out to this Thursday. All right, you can see that in the Western Caribbean right in here. See that right in here. It's still just kind of sitting there. Sorry about that. Still kind of sitting in there. And this is Monday. So whatever's happening this weekend, it's going to be down here, right? Then as we get into next week, this is Wednesday. Now it's starting to pop out into the southern Gulf of Mexico. A weak system, by the way. Very weak, but coming out. And then as you get into, you can see it kind of comes right up across South Florida. All right, very weak system, though, by the way, even with the GFS. Now, the European forecast model, you see it there in the Western Caribbean, and it just meanders. It goes back to Jamaica, comes back to the west. That's all through Thursday of next week. All right? What you see here is this ridge of high pressure come in and replace it. And as long as this thing dives down to the south and east, this green that you see here, that's a ridge that will help protect us. Let me run this back and watch that coming down through Atlanta. Look at the word Atlanta, and you'll see the ridge come diving down. See that? That would be protecting us. And, of course, this model sees that. And because of that, it says, nope, can't come up and out. So it's just got to meander down here. Now, those are two models talking, the time frame is Wednesday and Thursday of next week. So as a result of that, we're looking at over 7 days away. And I know a lot of people are putting stuff out on the internet, but the deal is we have an idea now that something might happen. Hurricane Center saying even by this weekend we could get some development in the Western Caribbean. But as far as where it goes or if it does come north, that's 10 days out. So we're just kind of at the stage where something may develop somewhere. We kind of have an idea where it will develop, where it will go. We don't know. To know anything about that, you're talking 5 to 7 days. And so that timing would generally be Friday or Saturday or Sunday. We'd know a little bit more this weekend. And by that time, we potentially could have a depression or even a storm over the weekend, and that would give us a track from the Hurricane Center. But just keep this in mind. We're nowhere down here, right? We're nowhere like having tracks and all this good stuff. We're just saying, hey, we're going to watch the Western Caribbean and see if it wants to get out to the north. Okay. Now, this time of year, we're losing a lot of energy in the water because of the water temperature. The energy is still, though, down here. So it's sitting here, it'll drift over here. That's plenty of energy to make a tropical system. If it comes up and out, it will still have quite a bit of energy, but then by the time it gets to the eastern Gulf of Mexico, you see it really starts to lose that tropical heat potential, which is basically the fuel for the fire for the storms, right? Our water temperatures drop below 80, and that's kind of the magic number. The red here, the really good warm water is down here. This is the loop current, comes up and out, goes into the Gulf Stream, okay? This cooler water here along the coast, if anything was coming at us, it would weaken it. And we're getting ready to get a front, a little bit of dry air on Wednesday, but certainly Friday into the weekend, we're going to have cooler. We're going to be in the 50s for overnight lows. And that's going to drop these temperatures down in the water. So this 80 will not be 80. And this line will be sitting down here. So you're going to have some cooler water at the surface here. And that's one good thing the RU says, if anything does come at us, it would weaken by the time it gets there, right? Again, I'm not concerned about this one right now. I know it's something we got to watch. But, you know, all the warm water is down here, and that's typical for this time of the year. Now, the other thing, wind shear. This is this Friday. There's already a ton of wind shear here. You can see this, right? Not as much down south. See that? And so the Caribbean's kind of open for development. Right? But watch what happens as we go through Monday, Tuesday. Now, Wednesday and Thursday, these are the days that we would be watching it. And, I mean, it's not a ton of shear, but this is all wind shear. So anything getting up in here is going to start to get sheared apart, which means we more likely get clouds and some rain pushing through the area, especially over South Florida, even if the GFS were right. Right? So it's hard this time of year, as we saw with Raphael. It's really hard the further north these things go in the Gulf, or anywhere really, to escape shear. And shear blows these things apart, and the forecast models look like it wants to keep it. Now, here's the precipitable water. I'm actually using this to show you the cold front. So you can see this dry air mass right in here, right? See it coming down? That is Friday. So that's the actual front. We'll get some drier air this here. Let me back this up. You see what's happening off of east of Jacksonville over here? That's drier air, and that'll get kind of snuck in here in the back door, if you will. But then here comes the main front that gets through here Thursday night, Friday. So that will help to protect us, dry out the atmosphere. You see that? See it coming up? That is the GFS bringing it up here like this. You see that? Watch this. I'm going to back it up. So look down the very bottom center of your screen. See that over Cozumel, Cancun? And then it comes back up. This is moisture, by the way, but that gives you an idea where the GFS thinks the storm would be. But it's weak. It's very weak, and it's coming into dry air. And tough to see here, but this right here is actually another cold front, right? That's a cold front right there. So that's another cold front to kind of sweep this thing up and take it out. That's what the GFS is seeing, and that's why it has that particular track. But look, this thing is going to change over the next several days. So anyways, the bottom line is that it's tough to get stronger storms the further north you go in November, which is good news for us. Now, the next name on the list is Sarah. Let's see if we get there. It's actually a pretty decent chance, I think. Well, obviously, they're saying 60% chance by this upcoming weekend. And then looking beyond that, when you look around the 17th to the 23rd, which basically includes this area now, there's only less than 20% chance. That does not include what this wave here that's going to move over here. This is kind of looking beyond that. And so will we finally see an end to the hurricane season? Now, technically it ends November 30th. Obviously, it'll end then. Water stays warm down there, but again, shear and other atmosphere gets more rough for this thing to form. So there's all my social media, guys. Thank you for watching this tropical update. Hope you have a great evening, and don't forget to stay tuned. I'll just kind of keep you updated on this as we go.